Suprabhat, welcome to the morning session of Accenture Preparation. I'm here with certain tips and tricks about group interviews for Accenture for those people who missed out the session yesterday or who may not be able to attend the session today. Here are some tips, heads up, so that you can be on your way to success. First things first, what are the fundamentals of the group interviews? Guys, of course, the name says that there are five people in your interview group, and you will be meeting a panel that has two members. So it is a 5 on 2 kind of a situation. The interview might last anything between 7 minutes to 15 minutes. Like 7 minutes is a kind of 1 minute per person if there is one round, and if they choose to have two rounds, then it will take to beyond the 14-minute mark. So we can safely assume the max to be 15 minutes. They don't want to ask too many questions because there are a lot of candidates who have to be interviewed. So one person may get a maximum of two questions, but at least you will get one to be, of course, tested on your abilities. If you answer something interesting, they might follow up with another question, which is a good sign that they're interested in what you have said. Sometimes you mess up the answer so bad that they want to have fun at your expense, but it's rare. But be ready for the thing. Same question may or may not be asked to all the group members. They might be interested to listen to what one person has said and then they continue on from there. But at sometimes it becomes monotonous to ask the same question to five people. So at that point, they might change the flavor by changing the question. They have a vast repertoire of questions to be asked, so they don't have any problems shifting the tone from suddenly being technical to HR or from being HR to extemporish. But at the root of all these things, whether it's an HR question or technical question or an extemporaneous question, is the objective to understand and know whether the candidate is communicative or not, whether he has the attitude to learn, humility that suits the status of a team member rather than showing off like a team leader. So they would like to see you communicate better than give out content information. So that means you don't need to be superb in content. Of course, having content helps you talk and maintain your fluency and confidence, but it's not all, which means you don't have to answer all the questions. If you don't know them, you can say no and ask for another question. I mean, it's safe to do that because anyway, you are not going to go away silently and lose it, but give it your full push. The technical focus is, of course, secondary. It is not on the agenda to ask technical questions, but no one can stop anyone from asking technical questions to you. By conducting group interviews, companies are actually trying to wrap up a big recruitment day in the shortest time possible. So if there are like 1,000 or 1,200 candidates, they will be wrapped up in less than 6 hours if a group interview technique is followed. So it's of relevance and benefit to the company. What is the benefit for you? Well, there are many. You can have the comfort of not having to sit alone for an interview, in which case the pressure really starts to mount. When a roof is supported by four pillars, every pillar gets little relief, a lot of relief from holding up the heavy roof. You also get an idea of the questions that are about to hit you because they might be asked to the person immediately before you. Maybe you will be able to think of points to respond to that. And in any case, you are already very prepared for any kind of interview that the interviewer is going to throw at you because you have been through a lot of training sessions, a number of real-time interviews, etc. Third thing that is in your advantage is that you don't have to be better than the rest of the college. You just have to be better than the rest of the group and preferably be the second best in the group to be safe. Sometimes even three people get selected from a group, and there have been instances when the entire group has been selected because all of them were really great. And in order to be great, you have to manage the stress you are going through. If you can sort the stress, you can sort the rest of the interview. Also, when you come to them as a group, as a team, the company gets to see your social skills, how you behave in a society, how you behave in a team. As a project member, how do you take the performance of others? Do you get suppressed or feel inferior to them when they perform, or do you take it in your stride and you feel good that your team is capable enough to handle that kind of a pressure? So that is good thing. Also, actual interaction is very minimal for you. You just have to talk to them for like 30 to 40 seconds because one question, one answer, you're off. Which also brings me to the beware part of this slide, in which the actual interaction is so minimal that you might not be able to showcase your entire set of skills. Maybe you will be able to show your personality, but you'll not be able to show your thinking. Maybe you'll be able to show your thinking, but not your memory. Maybe your memory, not your understanding of your college subjects, of your semester subjects. So this interaction becoming minimal is a little bit of a pain. People not being able to answer before you might start putting pressure on you, and you might start thinking, I also will not be able to perform in this count, and that becomes a kind of a tension as well. This thinking about others' answers is going to hurt you, because if you keep doing that, you will be suddenly taken by surprise when you are given a new question, and you will not be in the right frame of mind. So you better prepare some good answers for the normal, usual interview questions. But if the prepared answer, your prepared answer, is given by someone else before you, no need to panic, because you are not supposed to bring in a different skill set. If someone is punctual before you and he mentions it, and you too are punctual, you tell that you are punctual. You don't have to hide that strength of yours, it's your strength. You have all the right and necessity to showcase it and tell them that you are punctual. Give a new example to prove it. So that part, and basically the jam part, like one topic is given and one person uses up 2 to 3 points that have already been said, you can use those 2 to 3 points and showcases it in a much better way. You can articulate it way better than the other person. There is a possibility that your accent and your fluency is better than the other person. You can reuse those points to be a much better speaker. Don't worry if someone uses your point, you can use it again. If you don't know anything about the topic is new for you, it was given to you as the first person, and you know nothing about it, don't worry. Say that this topic is something that I am not acquainted with. May I have another shot, please? I mean, this is better than saying, I give up, I don't know anything about it. Being better than the other group member, group people, other groups people, like people from the other groups, is not going to help, because you will be compared with the people of your group, and that's why you'll have to perform better than them, not with others. So what actually is relevant to this kind of interview is your posture. Were you slouching in your chair? Are you sitting upright? Then is your smile. Are you smiling through the interview and taking it in your stride, being a very positive person? Or are you totally grave and serious, or face is ashen and dark? Don't do that. And of course, your voice has to be loud and clear. It should not be too loud to interfere with other interview panels, but loud enough for the interviewers in front of you to hear, and should show that strength of confidence in you. Time for thinking an action plan, what we need to do and think when the group interviews kick off. Well, these are the things you should think. First of all, because thinking comes before doing, you have to tell yourself, think it again and again, make it a known fact. I mean, accept it and print it in your brain that you are an achiever. You are good. I mean, and you are really happy about the situation right now. All negativity has to be washed away before you enter the room. Nothing should be carried within you. There are no brownie points for being a Devdas or a Rodali. You got to be very positive, very smiling, interview after interview, company after company, because you are a fighter. You are not a giver up. You are not a player of 1.5 months. You are a year-long fighter. You are a warrior. Show that you are not a warrior, you are a warrior. And you got to talk about your CV. So start thinking about your CV as a good document. It's not a character certificate, it is just a record of what you have done. Things that you have done not so well, also recorded. Things which you have done well, also recorded. Nothing to be changed from that. So better just justify how that thing has happened, come to happen. Don't be proud of it, don't be ashamed of it. Walk the middle path. Think about all your group members to be your comrades, your friends, your helpers, and you will definitely help them. I mean, in the sense that you're not going to have a kind of antonymous relationship with that, where you're not supposed to be acrimonious to them, you're not supposed to be against them. Okay, you're supposed to be on the same side. If you don't know the exact answer, think and tell yourself that you are not going to shut up. You are going to give the nearest answer possible, or ask for another question. But don't go into a silent mode or a vibration mode. And also, you have to speak only the good things about yourself. You know there are a lot of faults in you, but today is not the day you have to discuss all those. No guilt, no worrying about anything, no admission about anything. Yeah, and these are the things you are supposed to do. List out all your achievements, and categorize them. How have you performed as an organizing committee member? How you have been participating in particular things? How you have been the event coordinator? How you have been the secretary of a particular society? All of those things are needed to be listed. Revision of the points mentioned in the CV, you have to do it because the CV is going to be the manual document for some of the questions. Some of the questions, not all of the questions, but some of the questions might come from there. The sleeping part, of course, has to be done before the day because your mind is going to be the headquarters of the performances and the processing of the questions and answers. So if it does not get its required sleep of 5 to 6 hours, it's going to malfunction and a wonderful opportunity will slip from your hand. So if you don't want to slip, sleep. When you sleep, you will not slip. And of course, eat well. Don't eat junk. Don't eat oily spicy food because heartburn or upset stomach is going to impact your thinking and make you malperform. Okay, sorry, underperform. And drink well to stay hydrated so that your lips don't dry up and you speak fluently. Right? Relax, people. Do not stick to your mobile phone screens because that is going to make you get a headache or something. It will make you too much fidgety because mobile screens are very fickle. They change at the tick of your finger, at the flick of your finger. So if that becomes so that your temperament becomes flickering, then your performance becomes very transitory. Do not stick to your mobile phone. Smile, people. August is not the last placement day. Contrary to the things you have been hearing, companies will keep coming. People will keep getting placed at packages higher than Accenture, or at least equal to Accenture. So relax and smile and look good. Dress to impress, move to impress. Your actions and your appearance should be of a wonderful quality, even if you are going to sit for the interview and after the evening tea. Even then, you should have a good appearance and countenance. In order to be that, breathe deep and long again and again every 10 minutes. Put a reminder or an alarm to drink water and breathe oxygen because oxygen makes the brain function in a much better manner than you can imagine. Coming to the types of questions being asked in an Accenture group interview, there are basically three. The HR round, which consists the HR type of questions, which basically deal with you, your life being led until this point of time. So it will be anything and everything, and we have some questions that in the next few slides to discuss this. And also you'll find some tech-related questions and extemporized questions and topic-based questions in which they want you to talk for some seconds, 30 seconds or maybe 40 seconds. So you have an opportunity to showcase your attitude and communication from these types of questions. It's not technical questions are not primary, they are secondary, but of course they will be there. Don't take them lightly and don't take them too deep to the heart as well. Walk the middle path, people. When we say HR questions, we mean questions related to you. Related to you in the sense, again, that things that have happened and the things that might happen with you. So that which have happened are pretty easy questions because you know them. With regards things that can happen, you'll have to show a positive and open attitude towards learning. You have to show curiosity. You have to see adaptability. So when they ask you a question like how long would you like to work for this company, being a little bit of diplomatic in nature, you'll also have to answer this in a way possible that does not belie your intention to do any kinds of masters, whether in technology or science or business administration. Walk a very fine line by saying that you would like to work as far as you keep getting good projects, you get to work on the technologies you are interested in, and your salary is on a constant rise. So these are the things that make people take the decisions in the real corporate world. If you try to mess it up with some kind of idealistic jingoism by saying that I would love to work as long as possible in Accenture, they know that you're not going to do so, so they're not going to believe it, and unbelievable answers don't get you a job. And questions about why should we hire you, tell me something about yourselves, and the strengths. All these three questions have the same base. They talk about your passion, your skill, the strength that you have, nothing else. When they ask you about your weakness, manage with a very diplomatic minor weakness that you have, or a weakness that was there and how you overcame it, or with a weakness that is cheeky in nature, for example, ice creams and shopping and some kind of a particular apparel or dress that you keep buying again and again, but never a personality flaw, never something that is chronic to you, never something that will show you in a bad light or a negative sense. No such weakness should be admitted or described. And of course, family background, as we have already pointed out, is supposed to be invitation to show how the values of your family, particularly your family, have shaped you. It doesn't mean that they want to know the names and the number of the family members in your clan. They just want to know how the family has shaped you, the background, not the people. Maybe if there is a cousin or a brother or a sister who works in Accenture, you can mention that point. But again, not as a reference point, as a point that being in Accenture, they have they have behaved to be very happy people, and that is what I want to become, happy and successful in my domain. Yeah, so this would be about the HR questions related to you at present and in future. The second type of HR questions that you might find are the ones related to Accenture. So it's not a GK test of Accenture or about Accenture. It's about how you connect with Accenture. How do you perceive Accenture? So they will ask you why Accenture, which is actually shortening of the question, why do you want to join Accenture? What is there in Accenture that attracts you? It's also not supposed to be taken as an opportunity to unfold all the figures and facts that you have learned from the Accenture website. It is to connect what you have and what is that you have that is demanded by Accenture. So that bridge has to be made by this question. I'm not giving you any kind of particular answer to be followed. You know what you have to say in order to get recruited. Might ask you a question if you are from a circuit branch or a core branch by asking that, being a such and such engineer, why do you want to join the IT sector? For answers to this question, you might refer to the note or the comment section below, in which I'll have mentioned the things about this. There might be a Facebook link where you can go and learn about the various answers you can give as a different kind of a non-CSIT engineer. When they ask you what you know about your company, again, first-hand information, at least second-hand information about how the company is run. Again, no facts and figures about Accenture from the website, because a lot of other people would be doing that, and you'll have to stand apart from the crowd and make your own mark. They might also ask you what is the meaning of our logo. When you say that it is about the particular the tagline, the punchline that goes with the logo, also connect it with one of your values that you possess and exercise, so that the final thing is shown, the bridge between you and the company. Stay true to that. Tech questions will not be asked in a very in-depth manner for the ASC profile, and hopefully not for the FSC profile as well. But let's be prepared. For example, if you have a favorite subject from your stream, you better prepare for the content of that, because there might be one or two internet based questions, or a question even from the person's own background, because Accenture has IT engineers, software engineers from various non-CSIT backgrounds. So they might be from your department and ask you questions based on that. So if it is your favorite subject, know the very basics of it very well. There's no other escape route. They might also ask you to rate yourself in the various programming languages like C++, Java, and Python. Give yourself a moderate score between 3 to 7 or 8. If you're really good, you can go up to 9. But again, don't be guilty about anything, because you're not supposed to be a pro right now. You will be doing something totally different from what you're learning at present in terms of programming languages. They will train you further in a particular language and make you do projects in the same. So there's no hurry and there is no guilt. The technical skills that you might have mentioned in your CV will also get a response. They might take it up and ask you, hey, you know Xilinx. Okay, you have mentioned CATIA as one of your technical skills. What have you done with CATIA? And it is easy to tell, because it will be a part of your training that you have done, and you remember your CV, so you will be able to answer this question. Also, describing the project mentioned in the CV is an easy task, because you have done it for 15 to 30 days. Remember the title of the project, so that the keywords stick to you and you can expand on them. And maybe they will also ask you about what your role was there in the project in particular. So you will have to showcase your flexibility and adaptability. You don't have to give your leadership skills. If you are a natural leader, of course you can talk about it, but you don't have to prove to be a leader in order to show that you had a manageable role, you had a relevant role in the project. Take it easy. If you get extemporized questions, welcome them, because that is one of the easiest way to get through. You just have to talk about things that have relevance to your socio-political economic surroundings, and 30 seconds is all that you have to communicate. So go ahead with it. The approach should be something like this. If you got a topic, you'll make an introductory remark which will be very interesting to look at. Maybe a fact, a question, a shocker, figure, a surprising number, something like that. Go ahead with one point that goes with part A or side A, one point about side B. If they are against each other, you give points for both of them, and then you kind of summarize on a neutral note and say how this thing is relevant or awesome or worrisome, whatever is the flavor of the question. So suppose you get a question like, which is better, Apple or Samsung? You might respond like this. To the question whether Apple is better or Samsung, it all depends on a person's attitude. I mean, there are people who love artistic edges and completion, in which case the Apple products will definitely score over Samsung. But with regards flexibility and adaptability with technologies and compatibility with other devices, Samsung is definitely having the upper edge. So if you ask me which is better, as a person with mobility and with a flair for compatibility with various devices, since I'm working on other platforms, I would prefer a Samsung. So this is how you wrap up a content about Apple or Samsung. When they ask you questions like, is it necessary to do an MBA? You don't give them a clear yes or a no. You'll just give them things in which the benefits of MBAs are mentioned, in which the drawbacks of some MBAs are mentioned, but you don't say whether it is necessary or not necessary. I know that is a question, but also a trap. If you are a superhero or an animal or a machine, what would you be and what would you do? So this part is basically the one part in which a trap is being laid for you to show some kind of a narcissistic or supremacist or a kind of fantasy side of you, but use it. For example, if there is an animal to be used, use that animal to show something that is of an acceptable nature. For example, you can say that among animals, I would like to become a rhino, a person with a thick skin, totally insulated against the comments and criticisms of people, and with a horn, and that horn is my dedication and kind of enterprise quotient, in with which I take ahead of me and try to break down every wall of impossibility to reach my goal. So that can be one kind of thing. There could be also problem topics that you will be asked to talk about. For example, the rape epidemic in India. So you'll have to go in the PQRS method. The problem is that you'll have to accept that there is a rape epidemic. You'll go ahead and ask the question like, what is causing all these rapes? And then you will give the 2 to 3 reasons that is there, the kind of the media that is being circulated, the kind of patriarchy that is given, the kind of immunity that rapists get, no kind of a punishment from the legal system. These are the things that are causing a mass epidemic of rapes. And then the solution also: awareness, stricter rules, better implementation, maybe death penalty. All these things can come up as your answers. To extemporized questions are really easy. Go ahead with it.